This episode is brought to you by Dime Media. Love supporting local, but looking to save? I've got the solution. Introducing the 2025 CNY Women's Network Members Card. This is your passport to exclusive year-round savings at over 35 amazing women-owned businesses across Central New York. Whether you're grabbing coffee, booking a spa day, or shopping a local boutique, using your members card means more than just discounts. You're empowering women, strengthening small businesses, and building a thriving community one purchase at a time. Want to see all the offers and partner spots? Head to cnywomensnetwork.com/members-card or click the link in our bio. And here's the best part. Join the collective by CNY Women's Network and you'll get your members card free with your annual membership. More details at cnywomensnetwork.com/membership. Let's grow together, one card, one connection, one business at a time. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cultivate CNY. I'm your host, Alex Canavan, and I could not be more excited to welcome Allison Graff to the show today. Allison is a survivor, yogi, and a health coach who has turned life's toughest challenges into a mission to help others heal. After overcoming multiple serious health conditions, including heart disease, brain surgery, and breast cancer, Allison found strength through mindfulness and yoga, tools she now shares with others on their wellness journeys. With certifications in yoga, meditation, and integrative nutrition, she guides clients, especially busy, stressed out professionals, toward greater balance, self-awareness, and whole body healing one mindful moment at a time. In this episode, we explore Allison's powerful story, her approach to mindful health, and how resilience and self-care can transform life. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Allison Graff, welcome to Cultivate CNY.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited to sit down and chat with you today. I feel like we're really going to jive. Just taking a look at our plan for today's episode. We just share a lot of the same philosophies and values. So I'm really excited.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
How do you balance work, health, and hustle?
Just start off with the big question, right? Balance is something that I achieve from self-awareness. So knowing this is great, this is exactly what I love, or this is too much, right? This is a lot right now, versus what I have to give. Right. So it's the spoon philosophy, right? We only have a certain number of spoons in the drawer. And when those spoons are gone, that's it. I have nothing left to give. So my balance is my awareness of my energy, my health, what I can support, what my family needs, versus what is being asked of me, who needs what's in the basket to give out before I can decide what's next. So balance to me is a mix between self-reflection and the demands that are most important, being able to pick out those priorities. So sometimes it's looking imbalanced, but my tipping point, my balance point is much different from yours, much different from the next woman's as well.
Absolutely. And that awareness piece is crucial.
Yes.
And I've been told by people that I'm extremely self-aware, quote unquote, right? And I just had always assumed that we all had this level of awareness. But reflection and intuition is plays a huge role in my decision making. But I didn't realize that not a lot of people are able to maintain or even achieve this level of self-awareness. So how do you tap into awareness?
By sitting still and quiet. I am like many other women. I have lots of voices, right? It's like inside out in my brain, with the doer and the thinker and the beer and the achiever and the perfectionist. They're all vying for the front line. And to me, self-awareness is being able to be the one who steps back and listens to all of the team members, right? I'm getting this information and that information. And sometimes I just need to let it marinate before I then take action. So self-awareness to me is cultivated really over time by continually checking in. How do I feel right now? Right? Oh, I feel comfortable. Alex is making me feel comfortable. How do I feel now? Yeah, I'm getting a little hungry, getting a little anxious. Whatever is happening in me, being able to weigh it as an important member at the table, of not ignoring anxious Allison or not ignoring, perfectionist Allison, but knowing the right amount of which voice to listen to when.
Mm-hmm.
So self-awareness, I think, comes from listening to all of the elephants in the room, right? Not saying, oh, I'm going to ignore that concern. I'm just going to wish it away, or I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist. But maybe actually inviting that fear or that concern to the table and saying, I'm afraid of failure, or I'm afraid of losing something. Let me sit with that and just explore. Where does that come from? Or just what does it feel like? Where is it in my body? I think that self-awareness comes as that balance as well. Like, I can be super self-aware, but do nothing about it. So I can collect lots of information about who I am and what I feel and what I like. But then if I don't take it to the next step and actually act on it, what good does that awareness do? And I think awareness also comes from folks in your life asking you hard questions that maybe you didn't know the answers, right? We have both talked about how we are natural leaders, natural good doers, right? We do good work when we put our heart and soul into it. Nothing is out of our power. I can put that energy towards changing my habits, changing my mindset, changing my goals, as long as I see me in relation to the bigger picture. So I think self-awareness comes internally, but is also rewarded and encouraged by those around us, the friends we choose, the places we do business. It either affirms who we are or creates more of a chasm between who we are versus who we present or act on.
Yeah, and the more in touch you are with yourself and your own awareness and your intuition, I think, the more aligned your life will become,
Yes.
especially when in relationship with others
Yes.
and, taking on new experiences. I thought it was really interesting how you mentioned that self-awareness isn't just about being aware of all these thoughts and feelings in your head, but it also means not neglecting or pushing away maybe the things that we don't want to feel or
Mm-hmm.
take on or
Yes.
acknowledge. I
Yes.
think just as someone who is very goal oriented and
Mm-hmm.
very much of the mindset of, okay, what are we going to do about it?
Yes.
That's where things have gone wrong for me
Mm-hmm.
is I've tended to avoid
Yes.
the thoughts
Absolutely.
or feelings that I didn't think would get me closer to the goal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
But there's so much importance and power in acknowledging the fear
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging the doubt you
Yes.
might have about something instead
Yes.
of just pushing through and maybe being more concerned about whatever commitment you made or
Mm-hmm.
obligations you have, right?
Yes.
So like honoring those things and acknowledging those things and having honestly the courage
Yes.
to feel the fear.
Yes.
How do you get from being this high performing goal oriented doer to the
Mm-hmm.
to the conscious leader that is able to do but is also able to feel and acknowledge the hard stuff?
Right. So, unfortunately, I have learned this by several rugs being pulled out from underneath me. Right. So, I've had several health issues throughout my career because that's how I measured life before health and children. I measured my life in success by my career. And then I had abrupt stop. I literally had congestive heart disease, which stopped me in my tracks. I had worked my way up in an art history career. I was working my dream job in a Department of Education at a modern art museum. And right, this was my education, and I was independent. I was living on my own. I was in Florida, away from home, right? I had done this big thing by myself. And then I got sick. Well, now what?
Yeah.
Right. And then I worked my way back, and I took the medication, and I did the physical work, and I did the dietary work, and I got myself back on board, and I got healthy enough to have a baby and get married and do the next thing that I never thought was going to happen. And then again, the health rug got swooped away. Just forget about all that. And again, I worked my way back to a life that supported me. So I say, fortunately, unfortunately, like I can't reproduce that learning, right? If I could, I would snatch everything away from everyone for like 24 hours so that you know what you can do without.
Mm-hmm.
And then be able to refocus on the truly important things. So in COVID, a lot of my story overlaps with COVID. So I had the freedom to say, I'm sorry, no, I can't go to that. I'm sorry, no. This was the first time in my life I was saying no. And it was okay. Nobody was freaking out. I wasn't less than. I wasn't doing it wrong. I could do it different.
Yeah.
And that's what I would tell anybody who wants to understand themselves more, is to strip away all the things you think you need and identify the one or two or three things that you can't live without. And whether that's grounded in people, or that's grounded in things, or that's grounded in doing, it doesn't, whatever it is that fires you up right now. So right now, I love seeing people discover that they have everything they need. I don't need a special pill. I don't need Ozempic, right? I don't need a special program. I don't need a special car. I don't need a human being. I have everything I need already. And it's up to me to figure out how to make that show up. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. It's probably going to involve failure and loss. But if I look hard at my life and say, these are the three most important things, and typically we can align those with a value, right? I value honesty. I value hard work. I value authenticity. I value getting in the dirt and getting my hands dirty. Whatever it is that's important to you right now, that is what you pursue, right? So I love people, but I'm encouraging people to be still and quiet, but I create lots of opportunities for them to do it together.
Yeah.
Because accountability is somebody being there to give you a hug, right? When people arrive in class, that's where I want to congratulate them. You made it here. Everybody that deals with anxiety or depression or doubt knows how hard it is to show up at the thing. And what I love seeing about the social elements of what's happening in our business development networking culture is that we're coming together and we're being vulnerable. We're talking about, this partnership I did with this group, it just didn't work. But now I know this. I know that happened for me to learn the value of good partnerships, not those partnerships that you're like, oh, I don't want to have that meeting. I don't want to talk to this person. I feel yicky when I talk to them or share their space. like trusting that's your intuition's telling you back off or lean in for a reason. And I think the more we can lean in when we trust ourselves, just the more honest we're being with ourselves and those people around us.
Just literally just listen to yourself.
Listening
And
to
that, I think that has a lot to do with being able to listen to yourself means that you also have to be able to trust yourself. And
Oh,
I think
yes.
that's the sticky stuff that people struggle with the most. I think
Yeah.
is self-trust, but you know, feeling the yucky feelings and making the decision, well, I clearly feel this way because this isn't right for me. So
Yes.
now I get to do something about it, right?
Yes. Yes.
But a lot of us don't trust ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's why we avoid the hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Allison, I have to say that really, like, when you were just talking about stripping things away
Mm-hmm.
and then reintroducing, I mean, people do this when there's clearly something wrong with their digestion,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Eliminate.
We process of elimination, but I
Yep.
never thought of it like that for life or business.
Yes.
And I think it resonated with me because I'm personally just feeling really burnt out lately
Absolutely.
and exhausted. And in a way, I'm also gaslighting myself
Mm-hmm.
because I'm telling myself, well, this is what you prayed for. This is what you wanted. And I've always just been one of those people that has always filled my plate up until it was overflowing. And then I had no choice but to, scramble to get back in alignment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I think just being the kind of person or the kind of woman that has been sold this idea since she was a little girl of you can have it all, you can be it all. And, growing up, my role models were, Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada. It's like truly like I grew up in this being sold this girl boss propaganda. So, and I've also grown up in a very like, I'm also a big consumer as well.
Yeah.
So I think I'm burnt out for a lot of different reasons, but I'm also just like tapped out and just over the amount of consumption that I have in my life. And I think a lot of other people also do in theirs. And like, I've been just in this period of finding ways to simplify my life, whether it is my outfits in my closet, because that's one area of overstimulation. I feel like I'm constantly doing laundry and it's exhausting. I change my outfit 3 times a day. I'm like, can I just stop for once? But it's also a matter of business. And it's a beautiful thing to have all these opportunities. I'm just now really wrapping my head around the power of no. And I'm just now starting to really create these strict boundaries with my time and my energy and starting to say no more, say no to the things that I've always just adjusted to meet, right? I'm currently in this really exciting transformational era. But I also think that like, I'm just really thankful for my ability to pause and reflect throughout the process and not waiting for the opportunity to go on a retreat once a year to give myself the space to do that. So personally, I love sitting in front of my red light panel and breathing and just like being in my head for 10 minutes even.
Giving yourself permission to be focused on you.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of listening to ourselves and we do a lot of consuming of thoughts. But then I really believe in this kind of marination period where we take it all in and we let it kind of settle. And what stays on the surface is very individual to right now. And I think as women who want to achieve, we have to be driven. We have to stay focused. I think there is an expectation that we work harder and never give up. We are fed the push culture from the very beginning, that when I say to myself, is this too much? And I automatically say yes. But then I say, but I have to do this, this, and this, and this. I know that I've drank the Kool-Aid, because if I do what I'm preaching and I said, oh, Alex, this morning is just too much, right? It's too hot. It's not good for my mental and my physical health to do this today. I'm going to limit my opportunities. But the best business advice I ever got was from my tattoo artist, who said, if I'm not 100%, you don't want me, because it's going to be there forever. And once she said that, she's a young professional, but has oodles of experience. And she's aware of her body, and she's aware enough to say, in order for me to show up for you, I can't do this today. And if I drive that bus, I have to be willing to give myself a break and to say, if I can't be 100%, I'm no good for you. And that is, I think, one of the most important lessons for people to learn, especially women who are trying to achieve things, that it's okay to say this is too much. Because if we don't, we push ourselves to the breaking point. And I am the poster child for what happens when you stress yourself out and when you push yourself too far. So when I hear women with the ultimates, right? No matter what, you show up. Okay, well, I know some days you can't show up because you're in the hospital, you're at the doctor's, you're on the floor, you're not in the shape to show up. So if we can't be sensitive to ourselves and speak up for ourselves, who's going to do it for us? And I want to encourage women that are on this journey to say, is this still in alignment? Am I still creating the business that I can live? Because I'm in the same boat as you are. I am in deep burnout. I had to make the very difficult decision to step back for a month in my own business, as well as my part-time job that pays all my bills when I can't be in my business. And this is the health teeter-totter that I think a lot of women in business fall into, right? My health and my business. Is it a juggling match that I hope for the best and just keep those balls in the air and keep it going and keep saying yes and keep trying? I've done that. And then the balls start to crash one at a time. I can't make this appointment. I can't show up for this client. I'm not following through with the people who need me now. Why am I trying to do more? And so I am lucky that I have enough resources to take a month off and be willing to step back and say, I can't do what I'm doing. I need to do this differently, because I want to build everything. I want to be there for everybody, but this is what I can manage now. And these are the people that I'm going to show up for the most. And, things like social media and balancing my accounts, that's going to wait.
Yeah.
Because right now, my health is my priority, my family's health is my priority, and then my client's health is my priority. And making sure that along the way, I'm still doing those things that identified as being the most important things in my life, those things that are most aligned with my value. For me, it's being present, being authentic. So that means when I let my chair yoga class know that I wasn't going to be around for a few weeks, I said, I'm struggling. You guys know that because we see each other every week and we talk about how we're struggling. But I want you to know that you're still important for me. And here I've developed these videos so that while I'm gone, you can still practice with me, right? So it's taking a problem and inviting it to the table. Come on over, fear. Let's talk about how I can keep you comfortable while moving forward, right? So sometimes it's just asking for help. The retreat that I'm doing in August, I tried last year and it flopped. So I went to a business partner and a friend and I said, hey, will you do this with me? Because you have skills that I need and I really need this. So how can we do this together? And parts have been messy and parts have been beautiful and it's moving forward and we're doing this work together. So I was vulnerable with her and said, I'm struggling, but this is something I think I will benefit from and everybody that accompanies us will benefit from because it comes from this is a need, right? And this idea of this retreat is just to breathe, to move, and to make things, right? In some rustic cabin in the woods, right?
I love it.
And to just take the time to think if we have very little, what is most important in this moment. So, we have everything we need, right? Like you said, we have all the consumables. I have 14 water bottles, 6 different cell phone covers. But when I have a choice, right, Avery and I go thrift shopping because there are so many great things in the world that exist already that I don't need to make anything new. I don't need to buy anything new. I just need to know that the value, it comes from the story. It comes from, the shopping trip with my daughter of, that sweatshirt. We'll always remember that experience together.
Absolutely. I'm like, the thing is with consuming, like, I grew up thrift shopping for all my school clothes, mainly because that was my only choice financially.
Yes.
But then I ended up really just loving the treasure hunt of it all and found so much gratification, I think. And I'm just that way. I see so much value in things that have been on this earth for longer than I have been, or have things that have been used and loved before. That doesn't make them any less valuable. Actually, to me, it makes them more interesting.
More valuable.
I even dabbled in starting a clothing, like a consignment business, like an online clothing reselling business. Didn't take me long before I realized how hard that was and how time consuming that was. So shout out to anybody that does that. My friend Michelle owns a really successful vintage clothing business, and she's been doing it for years. She does a great job with it, and it is so much work. But I totally agree with you. And I think, in terms of retreats have become such a thing. And being someone that hosts events, I think there's the assumption that we have to give people this luxurious experience. But I think where we're at right now in our society, at least, or at least where I'm at, is like, I've had the luxury experiences and I'm so grateful for that. But what I need the most right now is less.
Yes.
I need somewhere to go, and I just need to be wearing a white t-shirt and some shorts and no makeup and no jewelry. And I just need to put my feet in some water, and I need everyone to be quiet. That's literally all I need. And it's so sad that I think I have to go on a retreat to get that. But for so many people, that is the case. People, I don't have children, asking me for things. I don't have a ton of obligations, and not nearly as much as a lot of the other women in our network does. So I understand why they need to get away to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
So it's super important that people like you are hosting these retreats. Where is your retreat in August? What venue is it?
We are at a cabin called the Eagle Ridge at South End. It's actually at the end of Skinny Atlas Lake. I think the physical address is Moravia, but you literally drive along the edges of cornfields in the middle of Nowheresville. And we just keep driving down this 4-mile road, and it's trees and trees and trees. And then all of a sudden there's a turnoff and this beautiful cabin that Lauren has built and created for other people to be able to get away to the woods. It's composting toilet, and I think the shower is solar powered and heated. And it's a little place in the woods to go and to quiet the noise. We consume so much. And I think the idea of going someplace different, even if it's for a day, right? We chose this venue because it's far enough, but it's close enough at the same time. And it's rustic and it's simple and it reminds you of the richness in stillness and the richness in pausing and listening, forest bathing, right? Being in nature makes us feel better for oodles of reasons, scientifically backed. Our vibration changes, our frequency changes. If we are bombarded by loud things all the times, we start to vibrate. And then you come out of the loud things and you continue to vibrate. And until you allow those vibrations to slowly kind of slow down and ease off of you, you don't feel your own. So that's why we like sound healing. That's why we like breath work, because it stops the regular processes. It stops the habits of mind that we get into. We get up, we brush our teeth, we go to work, we do the things, we pick up our phone, we do all the habitual things. And then somebody says, "Oh, how do you feel?" I don't know how I feel. I know that I have this deadline and I like all the things. But in order to reconnect, to do the self-awareness that we've talked about, we have to let go of all that stuff, to take off the makeup, to take off the jewelry, to, metaphorically shed everything that we don't need and come to ourselves and say, "Hey, Alex, what are you scared of? What do you really want out of life, right? Where do you want your energy?" Until you're able to sit and say, "I don't know. I can't answer half the questions in mindfulness books or journals." It's like, how do you feel? I don't know. That's why I'm in the predicaments that I'm in, right? That's why I say yes too much. That's why I take on too many things, because I want everybody to feel better, but I'm not tuned into my want to help other people is greater than my want to take care of myself. So growing my awareness of saying, "Oh, Allison," I talk about in meditation, when your mind wanders off of breathing, for example, and you think about this thought, I have created a voice in my head that's named Miss Honey, the character from Matilda, the most amazing, right, kind teacher that you could ever imagine. Miss Honey in my mind comes and says, "Oh, sweetie, it's beautiful that you're thinking about this right now, but we're over here. Just set that down. Come over here, play with the other kids, right? Enjoy what's happening here. We'll talk about that later, right? Because that fear or that idea that my brain wants to go to is probably not where it needs to go, right? It's going to go to the 8-year-old that was left right behind, or the 13-year-old that wasn't picked for the sports team, right? Those kids are always inside of us, sitting at our inside out table. And sometimes she gets louder and sometimes she gets softer, but she's still important to listen to. "Okay, honey, you're all right. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry." Right? Here I am back at where I want to participate in life and how I want to show up. And those conversations aren't easy, and it takes lots of practice. And sometimes we do better at it, but the constantly knowing that I can do this and I can check in and I can try again. I don't know if that's anything related to where we started, but
No, I love all this, because I was going to say, that's why I love human connection and I preach it so much, community and connection, because like you said, you could listen to the next best self-help book, or you could get the newest self-development or reflection journal on the market. But
yes.
again, I think those things are great. However, that's just another thing for us to consume.
Yeah.
And what a lot of us need more than anything right now, I think, is the permission to go somewhere and to to be able to go to a safe space
Yes.
with people you feel safe with, that
Yes.
you know will hold space for you and be tender with you, I
Yes.
think,
To take care
and
of you.
invite, to be taken care of, especially as adults. I mean,
Yes.
the best thing you can do, I think, is develop the skills to be able to self-reflect and to be able to coach yourself, to
Yes.
be able to talk to yourself like Miss Honey
Yes.
and talk to that inner child. And because the thing is she's not going away.
No.
She's always going to be there, and
always be.
things are always going to come up.
Yes.
So the best thing you can do is learn how to coach yourself through those
Yes,
moments.
absolutely.
But that does not go without saying that we don't need these spaces and these opportunities to be checked in,
Yes.
to be checked on,
Yes.
right? So whether you're being checked on by a good friend or you're
Mhm.
going to a retreat and putting yourself in the care of
Mhm.
a facilitator or
Yeah.
a coach, it's important work to do that.
Yes.
And you deserve it too.
In whatever form it comes, right? So going on a retreat, traveling, these may be privileges or abilities that some folks don't have. So I really love the idea of a day away because it allows for less logistics,
Yeah.
right? It's not a childcare overnight situation. It's not being away for an entire week or an entire weekend. It's taking time that I can recreate on my own. If I can't go to a retreat, maybe I can spend the day at the park by myself, or I can schedule appointments throughout the day, massage, sauna. Maybe it's just a trip with a friend to take a bike ride or take a walk, like whatever it is, being able to just allow yourself time to practice checking in. So whether that is a day of grocery shopping, but instead of it being chaotic and crazy and squeezed into this 45 minutes, maybe I give myself 2 hours to go grocery shopping and I leave my phone in the car. Oops. Right. And I just go in and shop and like read things and try things, like do something ordinary in a much kinder way. And that's how I like got through. I had a period of time between having strokes and having brain surgery that I couldn't do anything. Right. I couldn't do my normal yoga practice. I just basically could live and take care of my daughter. And during that time, I learned that mindfulness is practiced doing the things that we need to do every day, making a cup of coffee, doing laundry, washing the dishes became my favorite mindfulness practice because it used all the senses. I love getting smelly soaps from Grove or wherever I was getting my stuff, and the bubbles, and I'd put music on, and it just became a special event. It wasn't, right? It was just washing dishes. But that's where I found the value in practicing mindfulness in life, whether you're in the grocery store, in the checkout line, waiting for a doctor, driving in the car. These are all moments that we can observe more fully and be present in. Right. So the car is a good example because we throw on the radio or a podcast. We got the windows down. People are beeping. I got music playing. Who knows? There's games being played in the background. There are so many distractions. Then we have billboards that now have moving pictures on them. And we have, signage everywhere, more signs. And now on gas pumps, there's videos. There's so much, like just so much. But to be able to shut that down throughout the day and say, just for 10 minutes, I'm going to watch the cars go by, right? Or I'm going to people watch outside my office, or I'm going to water my plants. Whatever the task is that you have, can you be more present and enjoy it instead of rushing through it, right? Can we do this in a different way where I don't feel so stressed about it, that I don't feel overwhelmed about it? Can I do self-care that doesn't stress me out, right? I love a good power walk or a hot yoga class. But sometimes my nervous system and my body doesn't need more stress because those are high adrenaline, cortisol producing activities, right? I need to chill when I relax, right? So I love gentle yoga. I do gentle yoga with anybody I can, whether it's in a chair or on the floor. These are well-bodied people as well as folks with limited mobility. I don't think anybody should not be able to do yoga because they can't sit on the floor, because I've been that person, right? That I've been the 32-year-old that couldn't do anything. And I couldn't go to my yoga classes, and I, couldn't do all the things. So you learn pretty quickly, well, what can I do? What am I able to do in my 10 minutes in the morning? Or I can't do my full, 2-hour workout at the gym, but I can go for a walk after dinner. And it sets up this ability that as your health changes, as your demands change, as your abilities change, as your health, your family, everything changes, I'm able to say, yeah, I can't do that, but I can do this. I can't show up for all those people, but I can do a video and I can do one-on-one. Like I can give people more of the attention that they need at different times.
Yeah.
So
That
being able to,
flexibility.
that flex.
And I think the most flexible people are usually the most happy.
Oh,
That's my
absolutely.
philosophy. And I've been looking for more help essentially with CNY Women's
Yes.
Network. So I've been interviewing people for an executive assistant, and so I've had to get clear on what kind of characteristics or values do I need the most
Yes.
here. And the biggest one for me was flexibility
Yeah.
and adaptability. And
Yes.
I think those two things are the most important things to have in happiness and business, in relationship, life. And I think back to consumerism and culture, I mean, I'm consuming, I'm like a wellness girly. I love the wellness content. I love feeling well. I love prioritizing my health. I love that younger people are more concerned about health now.
Yes.
And we've got, Gen Z is like the most sober generation that we've ever had. And there's more 20-year-olds going to bed by 9 p.m. on a Saturday night than ever before.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. However, I think that we are also in the same way, if you are consuming this type of content and you're on this end of the spectrum, I've noticed this in myself. It can also be incredibly isolating to have all these really rigid routines and boundaries and schedules and habits, because it pulls you away from the beauty of everyday life and being present. I think it pulls you out of that. It's another way that our culture has been able to distract us with something. So whether you're being distracted by cheap consumerism and maybe lifestyle choices that aren't serving you, you can also be consumed and distracted by optimizing your health and
absolutely.
working towards longevity, right?
Yes.
It's it's just two ends of the spectrum.
You can become focused on anything, and we can become over-focused on it. And again, we can change push culture into, oh, I have to get up and I have to do my burpees and I have to do my sun salutations. And if I don't drink my mushroom coffee, I'm going to just, blow up.
The whole day will implode and I
Right.
won't get anything done.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's the intention behind why we're doing these wellness practices and what is doing them helping, or is doing them actually creating more struggle, right? Oh, I have to get to my yoga class. The number one rule I implement for all of my yoga classes, you're never late. You can walk in 20 minutes after class has started. You got there. That was the intention. You're here now. Boom. No problem. So it all depends on, again, what am I getting out of this practice? A very wise colleague always says, some tools work for some people some of the time. J.J. Weisberg believes in this wellness industry are lots of tools. Some of these things are going to help you. Some of them may not help. And it's us knowing the blend and the right balance. Again, sometimes my balance looks very heavy on wellness and very light on business. because I need it more. Sometimes I'm all about the others and everything is business, and my wellness needs are not as important. But I'm looking for the balance that I need in the moment. And that's shifting, it's fluctuating, it's changing. And I like to think of, applying the right tool to the right problem. So I talk about lemons and lemonade a lot because I believe that we are all bombarded by the sours of life, right? Some of them hit us slowly, like little drops of rain, right, that we can handle. Sometimes you get the whole bushel all at once and it's just too tart. I can't handle it, just screwing up all my senses. But to be able to say, what is this lemon here for, right? Did I create this problem by focusing on the wrong priority? It was just this bad luck and this is just something that happened? Is it genetic? Is it lifestyle? Like understanding what the lemon is, right? Sometimes the lemon is just somebody decided that you weren't a good fit for them. Could be heartbreaking, right? One side of the coin is like, oh, I'm obliterated. I have nothing to give. I'm worthless. The other side can say, hey, you just made room for the right person, whether that's personally or professionally, and being able to shift, my priority, my focus. I was really focused on making this work. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, where do I focus now? Do I continue to focus on the lemon, or do I say, all right, I got a bunch of lemons. Let's add some sweetness to it and make it something that we can use. That is, to me, where creativity and joy come from. It's knowing the people that struggle the most experience the most flexibility or the most creativity of how do I make something out of nothing? And, oh, look, it's not bad anymore. We just made it into something new. And I think that mindset is something that's practiced. It's something that comes out of how we were raised or how we were introduced to struggle. But knowing, like, how do I deal with my lemons? Because something bad is going to happen. And understanding, I got this, no matter what, whether it's too much for me today or, I'm going to make it no matter what, being able to see it for what it is and then work with what it is and say, okay, I got some lemons. What are we doing here?
Yeah. This episode of Cultivate CNY is brought to you by, well, no one yet. But that's about to change. After 2 years of incredible conversations with Central New York's most inspiring leaders, we are officially opening the door to sponsors. That's right. If you'd like to support the show and get your brand in front of a loyal and growing audience, email us at podcast@cnywomensnetwork.com to learn more about sponsorship opportunities. All right, back to the show. This reminds me of, like, one of my favorite phrases is, life doesn't, you get to decide whether life happens to you or for you. And I love that because I've always just been of that mindset of taking ownership for whatever the heck goes on in my life, but deciding that this is not going to throw me off track.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your why, Allison?
Oh, gosh. My personal why is my daughter. I had Avery as a mature mother, and I honestly never thought I would have a child. So the fact that I have one happy and healthy child just is the reason that I do everything. Not only to show her and to kind of model life for her. I call it mommy's charm school. Like, I believe as a parent, I have a certain curriculum to get through and to make you a productive and kind human being. And before you're out on your own, like, this is kind of my job. So we talk about just about, everything of life lessons. And professionally, I would have to say my why is allowing others to struggle less because I survived. And whether that's inspiring people to make a change that they never thought they could, or inspiring people to pay more attention to themselves, whatever that is. Maybe it's a little bit of education about stress or about some kind of health issue that they're going through. But being able to share what I have gone through and work with people who are also going through the things in order to help them not have to suffer so much through that process, by knowing that they're going to be okay and that they have everything that they need, that learning and investing attention and time in certain areas of our health is worth the effort and the investment into it. So between those two things, it keeps me motivated and focused on other living beings who are changing and growing and thriving all at the same time.
It's a life of purpose and service.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I mean, as long as you live your life in service, I think that you'll always feel fulfilled, so long as it's purposeful, right?
Yes.
We can't just run from an empty cup constantly serving others, because that'll end in resentment.
Absolutely.
And that's the slippery slope that we play, I think, as business owners. But what a wonderful life you've built for yourself doing work like this that is genuinely helping people and serving people. How has this business evolved for you? How long have you been working with people in this capacity? Because I know you went from an art history major to now this.
Yeah.
What has that trajectory been like?
So my education and training is in art history and museum studies from Syracuse University. And I worked in museum education for 15 years until I countered my first serious health change. I discovered at age 32 that I had a heart condition called cardiomyopathy, which basically, if you think about the heart as a muscle, the muscle was working so hard that it slowly got out of shape and started working very inefficiently. So I became very weak and just not a 32-year-old. I was on a heart floor in the hospital with older folks. So I was luckily able to get better. And I ended up coming home because I think family is pretty much the best medicine, or people that love you in general, unconditionally. And got better. Met a man, got married, had my daughter. And then I went through some major changes. My dad passed away from ALS. And I saw his struggle and experienced just shocking change from that, and decided, well, I need to do something, legacy fulfilling. I had left art and decided to go back into art, and that job was not a good fit. And I thought, I just got my yoga certification. I wish I could be a yoga teacher. And I got what I wished for, not out of planning, but just it happened. And I worked for almost a year just teaching yoga everywhere I could teach, inside, outside, in businesses and studios. And I loved it. I discovered that I was a good teacher and that I liked helping people. And so that worked until I made major life changes and decided to leave my marriage. This was a couple months before COVID. Luckily, I got a full-time job right before COVID and was able to continue training. So I had a yoga certification during COVID, and having a stroke, I couldn't practice yoga. So I learned much more about mindfulness. I did an online training course for mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is the power of presence. Knowing, here I am, I'm talking with Alex, my lip is sweaty, I'm under bright lights, like being able to be aware and to connect with how I'm doing with awareness. And then I had this stroke, which was actually caused by my heart condition, but During the workup for the strokes, they found that I had a degenerative brain condition called moya moya, which is a rare disease. But luckily, my strokes saved my life. And they found this. And a year later, I was able to have brain surgery to reroute this blockage.
Isn't that a funny thing, right? I mean, we would think a stroke truly would be the end of the world for so many, and it ended up saving your life.
It saved my life. So I always caution people not ever to say, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is happening for you to give you a warning sign, right? To give you a notification that something is wrong in your body. And you can choose to ignore it, or you can choose to do something about it. And so, I did everything I could for a year and then got the brain surgery. And as soon as I was cleared, I got back to work because I knew I needed to share all of the stuff that I'd learned. I had gotten an integrative nutrition certificate because when I went to my doctors and said, hey, what's wrong with me? I have heart and brain issues. There's got to be something y'all can tell me. And it was crickets. Specialists know their specialty, and rarely is a doctor interested in cross specialty investigation because it's just not their job. Doctors,
they're maxed out.
Yes, doctors can give you pharmaceutical treatment. They can give you a surgery. They can give you physical therapy, but they are not behavior specialists. They don't know psychology and how to help you quit smoking, but they are the start. They are the flag that says there's a problem in your health. You need to pay attention to it. And you have the choice. Either you don't or you do. And so at that point, I just knew there was a lot more happening in my body that doctors were not aware of. And so I did this deep dive into finding out about stress and learning about hormones and understanding how food affects that, how sleep affects it, how clean water affects it, how sugar impacts it, how caffeine impacts me. I had all of this information and I couldn't wait to share it with people. And so I morphed my business of teaching yoga wherever it was needed. Never had a studio, never wanted a studio. I want to be where people are. Again, it's like thrifting. There's plenty of spaces in the world. There's plenty of amazing businesses to partner with. I don't need to create something because I don't know anything better than they do. But I want to work to fill in gaps of service or to be able to introduce people to different modalities that they wouldn't find out any other way. And so my business parallels my life, that I am trying to build a business that flexes with my health and my wellness, that not only supports it by giving me the life-work balance or family work-life balance, and then, being able to pair it with helping others in the capacity that I have. So I'm still morphing. Still figuring it out, definitely.
But a lot of women are.
And I have to.
I think a lot of women have shifted, almost by default into entrepreneurship or business ownership because a lot of women need to make money and they need flexibility. And our traditional corporate system is not set up for that.
Correct.
But since the pandemic especially, I mean, we've seen so many women become business owners.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a huge reason why is needing that flexibility. And and it's so inspiring that you've been able to turn your experience and your passions into a business. And now you're figuring out, how am I going to make this business work for me and for the life that I want to build for myself?
Yes.
So what are you doing now to kind of do that? And where do you see your business going in the next couple of years?
So right now I'm on a pause, and I'm using that time to really invest in my own self-care, to remind myself of what the work is that I do, to kind of practice what I preach, to walk the walk of understanding how I got burned out, why I am and what I can do about it in all of the ways, right? Not only I'm working with a trauma therapist who specializes in chronic illnesses. Like, this is my dream match with a provider, because now they are guiding me through understanding, why do I overserve and how do I create boundaries? Boundaries are really fresh for me.
Overserving. I like that.
Yes, that
Yeah.
it's
I overserve as well.
yes, that I anybody wants something, I respond like my father did when he worked his side business. You call up, I'm there for you. I don't say no. But why am I not saying no? Why am I over giving to you and not saving enough for me? So I'm using this and I'm trying to be public about it, because I am a heart on my sleeve gal. And if I'm going through something, my friends know it, my family knows it. If I have something to say, I say it. So let me build that in. Let me show other women the signs of burnout and what to do and not to ignore, right? To invite the burnout to the table and say, well, howdy doody, lady. What are we going to do for you? And really approaching it in the same ways that I've approached physical illness. When I've taken steps away, when I've had that rug pulled out from underneath me, I said, wait, I don't want the rug pulled out, because I know what happens if I continue to ignore the signs of burnout. I've lived through it a couple times, so now I need to live differently. So I am investing this time in returning to all of my providers, my massage therapist, my yoga teachers, that I'm being a student for a while. I started sound healing training last year, and this summer I'm finishing that training in order to, again, explore another tool that I'm very connected with. I played instruments through my whole youth and then lost that when I get into college. And now I've found this other way to explore sound in a meditative and a mindful way. So it's an area of study that lets me access that, that creative kid at the switchboard that, wants a little bit more work with just sound. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not pre-written. I can just make it and I can experience it in the moment. And it does good things for my nervous system and my mind and my health. And other people find that it's helpful too.
I got to show you this app.
Mhm.
It's called Activations. And it's essentially an app for mindfulness, but they claim it claims to not be a meditation app.
Yeah.
It claims to not be a podcast or an
Yes.
audiobook. Rather, but this company has designed these activations that you can turn on while you're doing your skincare, brushing your teeth, doing the laundry, that it is music, but all the music is like they've hired the world's best composers, and it's no secret that music can change the way you feel.
Yes.
Or activate something within you.
Yeah.
And so there's different activations for different things or different ways you wish to feel.
Yes.
So like there's an activation before you go into an important meeting,
Yes,
or
yes.
an empowerment and confidence activation that you can listen to before being on a podcast.
Yes. It's like a little coach in your pocket.
Yeah.
that
And
helps.
but sound, to your point, sound and music and, vibrational frequencies is a huge tool for anyone to use
Yes.
to increase their vibration or to feel how they want to feel.
Yes. Whether it's putting on a hype song before going into that power meeting, or, putting on some soft music while you sit and relax. I think we know instinctively that sound has power. How we use it, right? I teach an amazing heavy metal yoga class where it shows, if you want to get your energy going, like, heavy metal is one of the best ways to unlock and get at the aggressive we all have it. We don't practice it a lot, but getting growls and yells and screams, that primal
Yeah.
regulation of the nervous system, I think is important to at least acknowledge. And many of us in the wellness field have experienced breath work, and that primal scream at the end of
I
some
love
breath
breath
work kind of cracks open some things.
It does.
Yes.
Especially for women, I think the emotions that we avoid the most or push or neglect the most is anger and aggression.
Yes. And feeling like we've talked about is not something that we openly practice, especially when it's uncomfortable. So getting at those screams and letting out the frustration and letting out the anger that we typically don't even allow ourselves to feel, again, is sometimes like, wow, that came out of me. Is there more of that around? Do I need to uncover it? What happens when I uncover it? So I love partnering all of this wellness work that we've talked about, whether it's sound or breath work or yoga, partnering that physical experience with mental health so that when I unearth that childhood trauma through breath work, I have a support system that now says, okay, what do we do with this information? How do we make this help you rather than just, wow, that was
Unravel
poo-poo.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause-
The unraveling.
Well, yeah, especially with
Mhm.
breath work and stuff like that. Doing the work, this work is really important, but you do get cracked open.
Yes.
And with breath work, even a day or two after the breath work, you
Mhm.
will feel almost drained
Yes.
or maybe a little bit more tender and vulnerable
Yes.
afterwards because you
Yes.
did crack yourself open.
Mhm.
But it's just as important to be doing this work with someone that's not only able to give you the tools to tap into that, but also give you the tools to support that
Yes. And to understand
do
it.
something
Yeah.
with the work you just did.
Yes,
Because what's the
absolutely.
point if you're just gonna, unravel yourself and not do anything about it?
Yes. Yes. Like, wow, I had childhood trauma.
Can't wait to go
Now,
through it all
what's
again.
right? Hey, what's next week?
Yeah, I love it. Allison, I mean, you're doing really important work here. How can people get a hold of you or even work with you?
Sure.
I know you're taking a pause, but I'm sure after
Yes.
people listen to this, they're going to feel like they absolutely have to contact
Pause
you.
is definitely not forever. I have a website, which is gingerteayogacompany.com. I also use Linktree a lot, Linktree/agraff. That's AGRAFF. Health Coach. I really like Linktree because these days I pull from so many different partners and so many great resources that I can stick it in one place there. And then I'm on all the socials. You can search me, just Allison Graff. That gets you just about everything you need to know for me across platforms. I have built all of my systems from scratch. So my consistency in my brand is something that I'm refocusing on at this time as well. So we'll see lots of new branding.
Which gives people something to pay attention
Absolutely.
to. I love that for you.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing to just work with someone that has built these systems from scratch. And the thing is, what I've realized is that no one really gives a crap about perfect marketing, especially nowadays. I mean, we're tired and it's just refreshing, like I said, to work with someone who's just simply passionate and focused on the work that they do. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Allison, for joining me today. This was an awesome conversation and I cannot wait to share it with everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Whether this is your first time tuning in or you've been listening since the beginning, I do not take it for granted. When I started this podcast, I honestly didn't know where it would go. I just knew that I wanted to have real conversations with people doing meaningful work right here in Central New York. 2 years in, this still feels like a dream, but I also know that we are just getting started. If you enjoy what we do here, please join the 32% of people who tune into the show regularly and follow us on this app. And here's my promise to you. I'll keep showing up with my whole heart. I'll keep inviting guests who inspire me and asking the questions that I know matter most to people like us, people building something right here in CNY. So thank you for being a part of this.